Ladies and gentlemen, Fourth and Trollers, welcome back to Fourth and Troll Fantasy, the most entertaining fantasy football podcast on the planet. I'm Noah Selby.
And I'm Wes Selby.
And we survived. We made it through another Thursday night football game, you guys. Somehow, one way or another, be it the powers of Taylor Swift or whatever it was, somehow us and Al Michaels, we made it. Why does Thursday night football suck so bad? It's so...
The one time we say it's going to suck, it's amazing. And then we're like, it might be changing. No. Not even the Chiefs. Not even Mahomes
it is
can
absurd.
fix Thursday night's curse.
Wes, I mean, besides all that, how you doing?
Oh, great. You and I are matching this evening.
Oh, yeah. That was the other fun thing about Thursday night football.
Look at us, dude. We're representing because her boyfriend had an incredible night.
Yeah.
On Thursday night. In fact,
her boy's bald.
Or as Al Michaels referred to Taylor Swift to Travis Kelce, his buddy, which I thought was hilarious. Yeah, I bet they are buddies, Al.
Yeah,
good. But they like
real good
going
buddies.
to drive-thrus together.
Yeah, and play laser tag and go-kart.
Yeah,
and that's
to birthday parties.
They stay up
David
playing
Buster's.
GameCube NFL Street, and that's what they do. That is.
Dude,
you
and I are buddies.
Dude, we're buddies.
Dude,
not those kind of buddies, but
not that kind of buddies.
They're
that's
good buddies. So, anyways, hey, we got a fun show. What are we doing? What are we doing here? What is Taylor Swift?
We're matching with the slogan, entertaining fantasy podcast.
Yeah, we got a fun time for you here in this episode. I thought you were taking your shirt off again. I thought it was going to happen again. Finally,
no.
We were waiting for the sequel forever.
Not finally. This is about the shirt today. It was representing.
Dude. You lifted it up pretty high. It was like up to there. It looked like
you need to be able to see it.
That's all right. It's all right. We know you're itching to take your shirt off, but we'll have to wait for another day. Maybe we'll get another comment.
If this episode gets 15 likes, I'll take my shirt off for the next episode. 15 likes.
Your girlfriend is going to text all of her family and friends.
She's going to just send. She's going to create 14 more accounts.
Yeah, and just like it with all of them. Yeah. There you go.
Gosh.
Listen, we got a fun show for you guys today. Obviously, we're going to break down Thursday night football, do a little bit of looking forward to Week 6 of the football season. Bright and early Sunday morning again. Somehow there's another London game this week, but we got a lot of fun for you here on this episode. We're also going to do a little bit of injury talk. We're going to talk about some of the players that went on IR, talk about what we need to do with them, where we're going to go with it, what's going to happen from there. But before we do all of that, make sure you follow us on our social media below, subscribe, ring that bell, comment, let us know, did you have Travis Kelce playing on Thursday Night Football? If so, are the dogs okay?
I hit the desk while I was pointing down below, and I almost broke the whole desk.
Dude, how incredible of a moment would that have been?
Do you know how many times I have thought of that scenario where I accidentally do something and like the desk just like splits in half and the aquarium just pours all over me? It is my deepest fear in life right now. Anyway, sorry. Follow us down below.
Follow us on all our social media down below. We're going to have a great time with you today. Before we do all that, let's jump into the news and talk a little bit of injury, Wes, because there's some guys that went on IR, some stuff we got to talk about. We're out of control right now. Let's jump into it. We're going to do a little bit of trade or stash when it comes to these guys that went on IR. Let's jump into it, though.
We're going to go down the list from the 4 biggest stars that are going to miss at least 4 weeks, and we're going to ask that question. Should you trade them away for one reason or another, or stash them, wait it out, see what happens? Starting with, of course, the best wide receiver in the NFL, Justin Jefferson. I'll start with this. Kevin O'Connell says he's not sure if it's season ending. He doesn't think it is, but that is a pretty big sign for me. What is your first reaction for what we should do for Justin Jefferson? And before you answer, for also us on the other side that may want to try to capitalize on trading for these injured players, help us figure out with what to do with Jay Jettis.
Yeah, so the situation is interesting because obviously when you go on IR, we know you're going to miss at least 4 games. But with Justin Jefferson and the situation that the Vikings are in and the rumors of what this team is headed for, we don't really know what this is going to look like, with Kevin O'Connell being kind of non-committal on, hey, is this gonna be a season-ending thing? And for him to say, I'm not sure, I don't know. We hope not. I believe one of the quotes I saw was we're gonna rely on the reports from doctors. It's not great. Not great to hear as a Justin Jefferson owner. I will say, I mean, personally, Wes, in a league that you and I are in with some of our family and friends, my wife was a Justin Jefferson owner. She traded him away on Monday. On Thursday. She traded him away on Thursday. And here's the thing.
I didn't even see that. Wow.
If you're moving Justin Jefferson, you're not going to get really fair value, probably. But she is 2-3, and she doesn't really have the time to wait for Justin Jefferson to maybe return. She needs to try and win now. So she actually traded Justin Jefferson for Michael Pittman Jr. and Ramondre Stevenson. So she got those 2 guys in exchange for Justin Jefferson. Now, the Patriots offense hasn't looked great, but Ramondre has a great schedule. Obviously, we talked about trading for him last week. That's around the area of probably what you're going to be able to get for Justin Jefferson. A mid-tier wide receiver 2, maybe a high-end wide receiver 2, so like the Michael Pittman Jr. range, and probably a mid-tier RB2 or back-end RB2, depending on how you view Ramondre, how the Ramondre owner views Ramondre, whatever it may be. So that just real-life situation and scenario for a Justin Jefferson trade that happened when he was officially put on IR. So
that's a bit of a gut punch in the reality check for what this scenario looks like, because it does not feel like Jefferson's back after 4 weeks. And
yeah, it's tough. Yeah, it's tough.
Obviously, if he is, you're going to be happy with him. But
yeah.
Last thing is obviously just how much of a boost this is in the fantasy world for Jordan Addison.
Yeah.
And specifically, it sure feels like TJ Hawkinson is going to finish as tight end 1.
Feels
with
like
this
it.
kind of a development.
1 or 2, yeah. With
Madison might get an uptick as well, just as they need to.
Yeah.
Kind of change the play designs, the play calls, but
yeah,
it's tough. It's tough to say, but I think I'm leaning towards trade Justin Jefferson while the news is still unclear.
Yeah, if I was in this scenario and I had Justin Jefferson in a redraft league, I would be trading Justin Jefferson. I'm trying. I mean, I don't think it really even specifically matters whether or not I had a winning record. If I was in a good spot, if my team was already doing well, if I had good depth to fill in for him, whatever it is, I'm a little worried about his status for the rest of the year either way. So I would be trying to trade him away and get some value for him if possible. So we'll see what happens. I mean, I heard somebody saying that, hey, Caleb Williams won the Heisman when Jordan Addison was his top wide receiver. Maybe they're going to be trying to reconnect those guys here. Minnesota, maybe, I don't know. We'll see what happens. They're 1-4 right now, and by the time you get to 4 games, maybe they could be, I don't know, 3-6, 2-7. Their schedule upcoming is 3 road games and then San Francisco. So it doesn't feel great if you're a Vikings fan or a Jefferson owner. I agree with you, Wes. I would lean towards the side of trading Justin Jefferson.
Let's talk about the Dolphins' incredible rookie running back, Devon Achane, who is averaging 12 yards a carry, second in rushing yards in the NFL up to this week. He is proving to be exactly what we wanted off the waiver claim following that insane Broncos game, but he's on IR as well. We're probably going to agree on this, but should you trade away Achane or should you stash him?
Personally, I'm going to stash. I'm going to stash Devon Achane. I will play for the fun of it. I will play devil's advocate and give you a reason you could trade him away
Thank you.
if you wanted to. I'll give you the argument for trading him away. His value is extremely high right now. He is extremely high, even after going on IR. This doesn't feel as long term. Mike McDaniel has said he doesn't think it's season ending. It sounds like the IR ad was a decision between GM Chris Grier and Mike McDaniel, just deciding what the best thing would be for him in order to be able to have him further down the road. This lines up pretty much where 4 weeks from now, his first game he could play back would be the game in Germany against the Kansas City Chiefs, and then it's the Dolphins bye week. My guess is that he's going to not travel to Germany with the team. He will stay on IR through that game, and then he will come back after the bye week, ready for the Dolphins' late season playoff push. They'll have Jalen Ramsey back. It'll be a fun time. And so I am going to stash Devon Achane, but if you wanted to trade him because maybe, hey, Jeff Wilson Jr. is coming back from IR. Hey, maybe by the time Achane is able to come back from IR, maybe this Raheem Mostert, Jeff Wilson Jr. duo we saw last year is humming away, and maybe Devon Achane takes a back seat again. Personally, I don't think that's going to happen. There is always a possibility we could see that happen, but I personally don't see it. I'm holding on Devon Achane. I'm stashing. I'm not going to trade him away.
I think you have good reason why someone could or will be willing to field offers for Achane, or at the very least give someone enough motivation to send some high offer for Achane while they can, because his value is not going to be higher now, and Achane owners this is the only opportunity right now for them to be willing to trade him, because I was so unbelievably glad to have him in a couple of leagues, and it was a bummer, but I knew immediately that I was going to stash him because, again, this running back market right now in the fantasy world is pretty thin. So to have even just a competent running back, even if they're hurt, just come your playoff push is pretty great. Now let's jump over to Indianapolis. And this one, we have a more clear timeline on the situation for Anthony Richardson, who is points per game amazing. But he has already missed so much time. He's already missed several quarters of football before being placed on IR this week. Right now, what it looks like is he could miss 4 to 8 weeks, depending on what the surgery looks like for his AC shoulder joint. Stashing Anthony Richardson, or are you going to try to trade him away?
No, this one feels pretty easy for me. I'm pretty easily stashing Anthony Richardson. I feel like the quarterback market is pretty open right now. I feel like most people's fantasy teams have a solid quarterback you can play on a weekly basis or feel okay about. And so Anthony Richardson, while he may be your second quarterback you took, I mean, maybe if you get value for him, if you've got Justin Fields and you took Anthony Richardson in the 11th or 12th round or whatever it is, and maybe you can get some value for him now if you're missing a position in your lineup, that's fine. But Anthony Richardson should be top 5 worthy whenever he is playing. So I'm pretty easily stashing Anthony Richardson.
That sort of answers my question I was going to ask, which is when he's back, people that have Anthony Richardson are going to be in the final weeks of our fantasy regular season. And that would then mean that people that have stashed Anthony Richardson are probably expecting to play Richardson in the fantasy playoffs, and then therefore expecting him to help them win the championship. It sounds like you believe that Anthony Richardson has the top 5 week-to-week playing ability to win championships so long as you keep him and stash him. Is that how you feel?
It definitely is. And I proved it to me when he was out with the concussion, because he goes out and like halfway through the second quarter of that game, and he already had scored 2 rushing touchdowns in like a quarter and a half. And he had a decent fantasy day on a quarter and a half of football for your fantasy football owners. I think he is, honestly, if Justin Fields hadn't played how he's played over the last 2 weeks, I would say right now Anthony Richardson is the best mobile quarterback for fantasy football that you can have. I think he's higher than Lamar. I think he's higher than I don't know who else. Shoot,
Kyler
Russell
Murray.
Wilson, apparently, based off Thursday night, Russell Wilson was out there running up.
Yeah.
Anthony Richardson is highly valued, and I believe whenever he is back, he should be locked into lineups. I think he's fantastic. So
that sounds like that should also encourage people to trade for him, especially because people don't usually
got an
want
opportunity,
or feel the need to have two quarterbacks on their roster, especially when that's hurt. That might be a good move. You've actually convinced me I might pull that off because there's one person in one of my leagues that has Justin Jefferson and Anthony Richardson. I've only got one IR slot, so let me take one of those off your hands, buddy. Except I have Achane in that league too, so I might, I'm going to need.
So you have an IR
one of those
slot
IR slots as well. It's kind of, the two of us share this whole IR list.
Yeah.
Last one we're going to talk about here. This is a very interesting one because it's kind of gone back and forth of how his season has been, but he's definitely a reliable player. James Conner, Cardinals running back, placed in IR. It does feel like this may be longer than 4 weeks, but it doesn't feel like it's season ending. Are you stashing James Conner? Are you going to try to trade him away? What is your approach to him with how the Cardinals offense has been this year?
Yeah, this is a real scenario for me. I have James Conner in a couple of my leagues, and I'm stashing. We've talked about it with Achane. The running back market is so thin, and I don't think right now you could get value that would help you now at the moment for James Conner that would be worth sending him away. You don't get as high value of him as a player because he's on IR. So the person is going to get them for at least 4 weeks. So you'd have to take a much bigger discount to get James Conner or to give him away. And so I just think at this point, when he's on the field and he's playing, he's been really, really good. And he gets a lot of work. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm honestly surprised he went to IR. When the play where he got hurt was a big, shout out Kyle Brandt, an angry run that he was completing, and he got hit kind of low and went down, but kind of he got back up, and it's clear he was like limping a little bit, but it didn't look too bad. And then reports from people actually that were at the game were that James Conner at halftime actually didn't just like walk to the locker room, like got up and jogged and like ran to the locker room with the team. So I was surprised that he ended up on IR. I think if it's not, I don't know where the Cardinals bye week is, but if it's not 4 weeks, I don't think it'll be much longer. And I do think whenever he is back and available, he's going to slot right back into being a mid-tier, maybe high-tier RB2, just based off of his usage. He's heavily used in this offense, and so maybe he'll come back around the same time Kyler Murray does. Offense will get an uptick. Maybe that'll be good for James Conner. So I think it's worth stashing just for those reasons.
Yeah, and it's also, again, kind of a similar point that we made about Achane, which is like the running back position is pretty thin. And so at least having a reliable running back that can get you double-digit points, because that seems to be just the gold standard. Can you get a running back that gets 10 points?
Right.
Because those that drafted a lot of second and third round running backs are still waiting for a second double-digit game.
Right.
That's probably worth it. And I think I might also try to field a couple of mediocre offers, see if I can get James Conner on the low.
Yeah.
That's it for our trade and stash segment here, trying to figure out what to do with some of these superstar players. This transitions us here into the news for the week. Interesting scenario here for the Cardinals running back situation in place of James Conner. So at the moment, I got to try to say his name again here. Emari Demercado.
Incredible.
Oh, let's go.
You are incredible.
Emari Demercado was the presumed backup for James Conner while he is on IR, but about a day or two after we had all sent out the waiver claims for him, we then learned that Keontae Ingram is not only apparently back from his neck injury, but is listed as the starting running back for the Cardinals. Yeah. He seems to be on track to play. I know you got a thought on this because this could go either way for me. I don't have any reference on how these two players are skill-wise or their talent, so I don't know who to prefer, but who would you start? Would you get with this? Would you get with that?
I would start Amari DiMercato. And here's the thing. I know that Keontae Ingram was injured, and so he wasn't active for last week's game. But when James Conner went down, it was Amari DiMercato that got 100% of these snaps after James Conner went out. He is somebody that obviously they trust and they rely on. He got in the end zone last week. He's going to be fine. He'll be James Conner light. I mean, I think he'll get usage, and for that reason, he'll be like a 12-point guy in your lineup, which is fine to take. With Keontae Ingram, I don't know if anyone's watched much film on him or seen much of him. I had to do the research and looking my own intentionally today to go, what is this guy? The most carries he's ever had in an NFL game before is 9. He's never had more than 9. He's a second-year guy, and so far this season, I know he had the neck injury in week 4. So far this season, he has 15 rushing yards on a collective 12 carries for the Arizona Cardinals. So I'm not sure how much of them saying Keontae Ingram is listed above him on the depth chart was more of a respect thing to Keontae Ingram because he was above him before he got hurt. So maybe that was the case. But I expect Amari DiMercato to take the bulk of the work, even though Ingram will probably see some touches. I expect DiMercato to be the guy. So that's where I'm at. Just wanted to give some clarity on that because I know everybody spent either a ton of fab or waiver priorities or whatever on DiMercato, and like later in the day, it was like, oh, Keontae Ingram is the starting running back for the Cardinals. Great.
Yeah.
Because that's how that goes for fantasy football. So,
of course.
Yeah.
Thank you for clearing that up. Appreciate it, because I did not spend any fab or waiver priorities on Amari DiMercato because I didn't know. And then found out Keontae Ingram's available and have to spend anything. And I was like, wow, I think I won. But
dude, I was in a work meeting.
I didn't do any research.
And I got out of it and I saw a notification that was like 2 minutes ago. It was from Fantasy Life. And it was like Keontae Ingram listed as the starting running back for the Cardinals. And I went to go check, and all the leagues that you and I are both in, you had already gone and picked him up like 2 minutes prior. And
I got him in like 3.
Dang it. I was like, of course. I was stupid work meetings.
Well, sorry. You're employed, you dummy.
Sorry to my employers.
Jeez, trying to provide for your life and family, you weirdo. Yeah. No, but I think that's also helpful information and context about the two different running backs here. Okay. Let's move on to the rest of the news here and jump into our Thursday night recap. I didn't mention it last episode, so I'll mention it here for the bye weeks. You got the Green Bay Packers, Pittsburgh Steelers, and a bye. Make sure you plan accordingly, you Najee Harris owners. Don't want him falling into your lineup for any reason there. Okay. Darren Waller has a groin injury. He is day-to-day, but he did practice, limited practice yesterday on Thursday. Seems to be on track, feels good. Called a Wednesday off from practice, something about just precautionary, so it seems like he's going to be in line to play. Zay Jones is day-to-day with a knee injury. Obviously, Calvin Ridley balled out in London against the Bills. Christian Kirk seems to be important, but it's just part of an offense that gets the ball around to a lot of receivers, so pay attention to that for those that have a deeper league, perhaps. Deshaun Watson has already been announced that he will not play on Sunday because of his rotator cuff injury. This puts good old DTR, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, as the starting quarterback.
So,
you look like, go ahead.
I don't understand what's going on here. Just to provide some context for owners of Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
He was medically cleared by the team to play in their previous game before the bye week last week. He was medically cleared to play in week 4.
Right.
And he, as a player, was like, no. So it was like, that's weird. When have you ever heard a professional football player get cleared to play and they decline? Like they say no. So that was strange. And then he was listed that he was not going to play on Thursday. The game is Sunday. Deshaun Watson sucks, dude. Like, I don't know what this is. Like, I don't know what's going on here, but there's a piece of me that's like, is this dude just like, well, the team's not going to win because we don't have Nick Chubb and I'm playing bad, so I don't want to play. Just pay me like $240 million and let me get on my way. Like, What is this dude doing?
Well, I do wonder because it's all guaranteed if he is just like,
This is so
I mean,
dumb.
it is
It's
frustrating.
so dumb. Last note, real quick. I don't know
Yeah.
if you had seen this because it wasn't big news. I actually believe I saw a headline that Kevin Stefanski came out and actually said, yeah, DTR is no longer the backup. It's PJ Walker. So clearly DTR played himself out of his backup position, which I feel bad about because I liked the guy in preseason and he played well and Rodgers gave him his flowers in the Hall of Fame game. But it seems that PJ Walker, former last season's Carolina Panthers starting quarterback for 6 games, will actually be the one supporting. So if you're an Amari Cooper owner, I'll just say that you might feel a little bit better with PJ Walker given that he's won a football game before.
He has won a football game before. Intéressant. Okay,
Yeah.
very interesting. Thank you for that
Yep.
contribution to the news segment because that is definitely news. Okay, last few here. Austin Eckler returned to practice this week. He practiced fully yesterday. He's looking like he's going to play for the first time since week 1 when Noah and I were at SoFi Stadium and watched him play.
He's good.
Sam
guys.
Laporta is dealing with a calf injury. Just keep an eye on that there in the later window on Sunday, but it just kind of popped up. Not sure if it's anything too serious, but just always monitor that situation because he is very important to that Lions offense. Tank Dell is not expected to clear concussion protocol in time to start on Sunday, but the new Texans wide receiver, Noah Brown, has practiced multiple days this week. He looks like he could make his first start of the season in place of Tank Dell. Of course, Nico Collins is still there, so just keep that in mind. Saquon Barkley was a limited participant in practice Wednesday. He's trending in the right direction and may play if things consistently get better for him to start, but of course, stay prepared to not start Saquon Barkley in the event that they are just not ready yet for Monday night. That's it for the news. Now, let's talk about yet another disappointing Thursday night football on Amazon Prime between the Broncos at Chiefs.
Yeah, just disappointing is the right word. Something we expect. Oh, the Dolphins put up 70 points on the Denver Broncos. Oh man, this is going to be a good one. We're going to see a good offensive, fun, exciting game here. Yeah, cool. Nice 19 points, Chiefs.
Yeah.
Can't wait for the Dolphins to destroy you guys in Germany. This is going to be awesome. I'm so excited. Anyways, here we'll just jump into it. We'll run it down pretty routinely here. We'll do must starts, risky starts, don't starts, just to review those real quick, and then talk about just some of the other players here. Patrick Mahomes was my must start. I know, crazy, huh? And still, I don't know if I made a good call on telling you to start Patrick Mahomes. I mean, 19.3 fantasy points is fine, but we're 5-6 games into this team this year, and the offense is different for sure.
Yeah.
They are running the ball more than they have in the past, and don't get me wrong. I mean, Mahomes has still got 306 yards, so it still breaks the 300-yard mark, which is a lot of people don't tend to actually do that on a weekly basis, believe it or not. But he only throws 1 touchdown. He throws only on the book 1 interception, but 2 picks. One of them was called back on what felt like a really weird pass interference call that didn't really feel like PI. And just I'm not going to say that it was refs versus Broncos, but it felt kind of strange. It didn't really feel like a clear penalty. But like those turnovers weren't like the first one was like he was like getting sacked, and it felt like he was pulling like who was the player last year? Was it Matt Ryan on the Colts who just threw these like absurd interceptions? It wasn't last year, it was like a couple years ago, where he was just like would be getting tackled or like and then try like a random like shovel pass and then would throw a pick, and like, it was just really stupid turnovers. It just felt like Mahomes had stupid turnovers on Thursday night. Like I don't understand kind of some of his decision making. He's probably just nervous that Taylor Swift is there, but I don't know. Like it just feels a little strange. So you got to keep starting Mahomes if you have him, but it's not great.
Right.
Like you're not thrilled with 19.3. So I don't know. Keep rolling him out. The offense feels like it's maybe rolling a little better, but the offense is different, man.
The offense is very different. This is actually, I think, the first effect of what this team looks like without Tyreek Hill. Especially Kelsey still had an incredible game, but he almost missed a play or two because of his ankle again. He ended up
flared up a
kind
little
of bouncing
bit,
back and
he ran back
came
out and
there, but
at everybody.
yeah, which was he sure did. But if you were to tell me that Jared Goff got 19.34 fantasy points, I'd be like, all right. Yeah, that's what I expect. That's fine. Obviously, our expectations of Patrick Mahomes are much different because we know what he will do. If Josh Allen put this up, he'd be like, oh, down game for him. But this is what Mahomes has done the entire year, and it's starting to feel like he was drafted too high.
Yeah.
It's starting to confirm the way that you and I have always approached fantasy drafts, which is to wait on the quarterback. Because legitimately, a friend of mine, shout out to Bryson, who asked me this question because he went up to me and was like, I watched your episode and I've got Mahomes and I was contemplating whether I should start him or not, but you gave me the confidence to start him for Thursday night. I hope it pans out okay for you, buddy, because you know who he has instead? He's got Brock Purdy.
Oh, man.
And I feel like Brock Purdy is a better fantasy option than Patrick Mahomes right now.
Yeah. Hey, Bryson, I'm going to say sell Patrick Mahomes and roll with Purdy every week. I think the gap between what Purdy is doing and what Patrick Mahomes is doing isn't as far as what you could regain in value for trading away Patrick Mahomes. I think the name value and the possibility of him is just so high that people will probably give you a good package for him versus Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy's putting up 20 plus points a week. That's what Patrick Mahomes is doing. Like they're putting up the same output. Like it's strange and it feels weird, and I don't necessarily fully understand it, but it feels like 2021 Jalen Hurts. Obviously, different play style, but 2021 Jalen Hurts in fantasy, it was like, I know I have a safe 20 points every week with the ceiling of a 30, 32, 35 point game. But 2021 Jalen Hurts, you drafted in like the 8th round. Like that's where you drafted him. You took Patrick Mahomes at like the 1-2 turn. Like you took Patrick Mahomes in the early 2nd round this season. And that's not what you're getting, the value. So it's disappointing. I mean, if you've got Purdy, if you've got... Dang, the other guy I was going to say was Anthony Richardson, but now he's on IR. So, I mean, if you've got Purdy, or if you've got... Dang, I was going to say Kirk.
I was going to say
Justin Jefferson on IR. So
I was going to say Kirk Cousins too. I mean, it's probably not accurate at the moment to say Matthew Stafford, but we'll see what it looks like with Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua and Kyron Williams. Right. I wouldn't say you should roll out Matthew Stafford over Patrick Mahomes, but that is now on the table, and that is so unusual.
Same thing. It's kind of just cut back to real quick what I said about Anthony Richardson about keeping him. Is that the quarterback market is open. There's a lot of startable quarterbacks, so you're not feeling great if you've got Patrick Mahomes that you're starting, and I'd have to check our league, Wes. We have that league mate who said I got to start Goff over Mahomes. I don't know if he ended up going with Mahomes or if he's going to roll with Goff this week, but we'll see what happens. I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see. I don't know. Mahomes,
Mon-Ra is back, so
yeah,
you're
a little disappointed with Patrick Mahomes right now if you're an owner, but a fine start. I mean, 20 points from the quarterback is a fine game. So it is what it is there. Hey, Isaiah Pacheco, Wes, you nailed it. 15.8 fantasy points, running backs feast against the Denver Broncos. This is how it goes. 16 carries for 62 yards. I think the more intriguing stat line here is 6 catches on 6 targets for 36 yards. 6 for 36 is, I mean, that's more than nearly 2/3 of his fantasy points right there. It was from the receiving game. So exciting stuff to see Isaiah Pacheco. Like we just said, this offense looks different, and he's featured, and it's exciting. So it's interesting
yeah.
to look at the Chiefs offense and see multiple startable options for every week now. It's very strange. Because usually last season
Yeah.
was just Travis Kelce. You've got Pacheco now, and so that's definitely exciting. Anything else on Pacheco? You want to jump in?
No, other than just this, I mean, the targets is also very impressive, but also the fact that it's 16 carries in a Patrick Mahomes-led offense is very evident that Andy Reid wants to use him weekly. And part of why I at first initially thought he should be a must start for me is because he's already had 20 plus carries, I think twice this year already in games.
Yeah.
It's wild to see.
It was something we were talking about, and I don't remember the episode, Wes, but I remember I pointed out from the time he returned from injury last season through all of his games, including the playoffs, not necessarily just fantasy football, but all of his games through the playoffs, he was averaging like 10 to 12 fantasy points a game. And now just with time and more experience in this offense, he's getting better. He's being trusted more, and we're seeing it on display, and it's exciting. So if you're a Pacheco owner, you definitely got a really good value in the draft there. So it's exciting stuff for you. And then the last guy that is potentially a flex option for you every week now in this Chiefs offense, I'm going to say it, is my risky start, Rashee Rice. It's exciting to see a wide receiver be an option here in this Chiefs offense. 11.2 fantasy points. The targets weren't as high this week, but 4 catches on 4 targets. 100% catch rate for 72 yards. And man, this guy's run after catch ability is special, dude. That slant route that he took, and he found his lane completely diagonally across the defense. That second down play on their last drive, he caught the ball, turned up field, got another 10 or 12 yards off of it. He's an exciting guy to watch, and I think he could be a guy that is potentially going to make a second half of the season stronger impact. So I think we're seeing it ramped up now, and I just think every single game he and Mahomes are establishing more of a connection here. So it's exciting to see that.
I made a bold decision in one of my leagues, and I decided I was wasting a bench spot on my team with Javonte Williams. And I picked up Rashee Rice and swapped them out because it felt like the tide was turning with what we're seeing with this our transition into my risky start, Jaleel McLaughlin, who I thought would not perform well because the Chiefs' rush defense is doing really well. But I feel good about having Rashee Rice in the long run. This feels like this is going to be, I think he's going to emerge as the clear wide receiver 1 despite someone else getting the passing touchdown.
RB1. Oh, sorry, you said Rashee Rice. I'm so sorry.
Rashee Rice, yeah.
Rashee I was already so hyped about Jaleel McLaughlin. Yes.
Well, let's just go into that because we've got the snap counts. You've got some information about how we can still be so encouraged about Jaleel McLaughlin's game.
Yeah, only 6.2 fantasy points. But if you watched the game, Wes, I texted you right at the beginning of the game. I said, wow, Jaleel McLaughlin takes the first snap over Javonte Williams, over Samaje Perine, and takes it for a 9-yard carry. Like, that's... Jaleel McLaughlin was the starter in this game, and we saw that. 7 carries for 30 yards is very positive. That's nearly 5 yards a carry. 2 catches on 2 targets for 12 yards. Again, only 6.2 fantasy points, but we do have the snap count breakdown already for you guys. Javonte Williams played 18 snaps for this offense. Samaje Perine played 9 snaps for this offense. And Jaleel McLaughlin played 21 snaps for this offense. He was the lead back in this game on Thursday night. I was calling people crazy for dropping all this fab on a 1-week play for Jaleel McLaughlin, but I don't know if they're just going to have a fire sale or whatever on this Broncos offense. But it seems like Sean Payton definitely likes having Jaleel McLaughlin in the game. And he enjoys using him, and he's being utilized. It's exciting to see. He ran double the routes of both Javonte Williams and Samaje Perine. Jaleel McLaughlin ran 11 routes. Javonte Williams just 5, and Samaje Perine just 5. Like, he seems to be the lead back in this backfield right now, and it's exciting to see. I believe he's an undrafted rookie come out here and make a name for himself. He's like 5'7", 185 or something like that. He's this tiny dude. He's giving me Darren Sproles vibes a little bit, but he plays harder than Darren Sproles. He looks good, man. I'm excited about Jaleel McLaughlin. I'm glad I was able to pick him up in one of my leagues, even this past week on waivers. $0 bid, by the way. Nobody else even put in a bid for him, which was so sick. It was awesome. Got him for nothing. Super, super cool. So exciting stuff there in the Denver Broncos backfield. It's moving around. I mean, they ran the ball well in this Chiefs defense, believe it or not. It was more the passing game that was really struggling. But Jaleel McLaughlin is a name to, if he's on your waiver wire, I mean, listen, he might be the top waiver ad. If depending on, I'll check where he's rostered at by the time we come around to Tuesday's episode. But he looks good.
Yeah,
he looks good.
Yeah,
he's an exciting rookie in this offense.
And it feels like that. Yeah, Javonte had more carries than Jaleel McLaughlin, and 10 carries for 52 yards, which is about the same yards per carry. But
right.
I mean, with the snap counts and the routes run, and the fact that he started the game, this wouldn't have happened if Javonte got hurt. I'll admit that. I mean, just the way the cards fold or whatever the expression is. But I'm buying in. Fluker for real. Yeah. I call Jaleel McLaughlin for real now.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's going to be really, really special. I think he's, like I just said, it's always fun to see a rookie shine on an offense, and he's definitely shining a little bit. And another rookie on this offense who is not shining at all is Marvin Mims. 0 points, 0 targets. Guys, he played less snaps than Lil Jordan Humphrey. That's a real thing. Yeah. Lil Jordan Humphrey, official government name, LIL' Jordan Humphrey. Lil Jordan Humphrey played more snaps than Marvin Mims.
Didn't they move him to the practice squad?
I believe so. Yeah, and he's back up, and he played more snaps than Marvin Mims, who Sean Payton traded up for in the draft to draft Marvin Mims, his first player he ever drafted for the Denver Broncos. He's not involved at all. It's absurd. I don't understand. Listen, the rumors of Jerry Jeudy getting traded are exciting for the potential of Marvin Mims, but hey, sounds like Lil Jordan Humphrey is going to take the wide receiver 2 role whenever if Jerry Jeudy gets traded. Let's go, dude. I don't know. It's so disappointing there for 0 points. He's just not used, but he's an exciting player for sure. He's a guy I drafted in a lot of dynasty leagues, so a little bit bummed out that that's not happening for him. So we'll see what happens here. And then the last don't start was yours, Wes, which was Noah Gray. 3.5 points. I was more surprised to see him make 2 plays than I was to I was like, oh, are we gonna maybe be? There's no way we're maybe gonna be wrong on this, right? Like how many catches does he have? Like, what are we doing here? No, he 3.5 fantasy points, 2 catches, 2 targets. I know obviously Travis Kelce was
swing and a miss.
Yeah,
I got it wrong. He dominated. He had 3.5 more points than I thought he would get.
Yeah. He scored 3.5 more points than I did. So there you go. That's
it's true.
Just
more
facts,
productive
just
Noah
facts.
from Thursday night.
Yeah, exactly. Just guys to talk about real quick. Travis Kelce obviously has a fantastic game. 9 catches, 9 targets, 124 yards, 21.4 fantasy points. He looks like Travis Kelce, which is very exciting to see. Kadarius Toney gets a touchdown, so that's fun, I guess. He had 3 catches on 9 yards for a touchdown. So congratulations if you started Kadarius Toney. I know one guy in our Trollers League did. Harrison, good job, dude. He even messaged after the touchdown. He was like, guess it was the right week to pick up Kadarius Toney. Sell high if you consider that high right now, if you want to. There you go. So we'll see what happens there. Russell Wilson, definitely disappointing. Did not feel good on that team.
Yeah. Ew.
Just 95 passing yards, 13 for 22. Clearly his worst game of the season. And he's been good. He had been actually a good fantasy quarterback this year. He had been playing well. But definitely just disappointing. 8.9 points is all he gets. He throws 2 picks. I mentioned it a little bit, but 4 rushes for 31 yards. I mean, he had to use his legs. It felt like he was just not getting a lot of time against the Chiefs pass rush. So it is what it is. There you go. His other running backs there, besides Jaleel McLaughlin that we talked about, Javonte Williams 7.2, Samaje Perine 1.6. Samaje Perine can be dropped. He was a guy I was really excited about taking. He was a big reason why I did not take Javonte Williams early in drafts where Javonte Williams was going, because Samaje Perine felt like a better value. He can be dropped And maybe Javonte can
Yep.
be dropped too. I don't know. Or maybe try and trade. I don't know. Can you believe he traded Javonte Williams for Breece Hall?
Oh, I forgot. I mean, he didn't mean to. He
I
didn't
know,
mean
this
to.
is so funny to think about now.
Oh no!
I went back and looked at also just this is sorry a random tangent. I went back and looked at our Trollers League today, and because the guy I'm playing against is projected like almost like 140 points in our 12-team league, and I'm like,
Projection.
like what are we doing here? Like what's going? Huh? Like what? Who's on his team? And I look at it, and it's like, oh yeah, he got Austin Eckler, and he has Cooper Kupp. And he has like all these other like solid weapons, and I was like, "How did this happen?" And then I remembered in the Trollers League, one of our league members, pretty early traded like DeAndre Swift and Cooper Kupp for like Kenneth Gainwell and somebody else,
Oh,
and we all were
yes.
like, "Whoa, what just happened?" Like we're like, "Wow, that is a big trade." Dang, that's pretty crazy. It was. I think the guy was just in like desperation mode for week 2, that he was like, I need to get players that I can start and all that stuff. And it was like,
yeah.
whoa, all right. So yeah, I'm probably gonna lose in the Trollers League this week, but we'll see what happens. Anyways,
But you'll get
last guy to mention
180
here-
points and get second anyway.
Exactly, that's how it goes. Last guy is just Cortland Sutton, because we got to give him his flowers for that touchdown catch. That was awesome. What a play for Cortland Sutton. Jump ball,
Beauty.
one-handed, toe tap-esque. Like, and he was confident that he came down with it from the beginning. He got up. The ref that was like standing right there watching it. Like the play happens, it ends, and he like doesn't do anything. Like he wasn't like incomplete, and he also wasn't like touchdown. He just stood there. That is the state of the referees in the NFL right now. You're just watching a play happen right in front of you.
Football.
Neat. And then that's it. Like, fix the refs, dude. What's going on here? Anyway, listen, that's Thursday Night Football recap. Let's get a better game next week. We got Jaguars and somebody. I don't remember who else. Jaguars and somebody. Let's get Trevor Lawrence under the lights and see how they play here. But listen, let's just close it out with studs and duds. Gonna have a fun time here. We've opted now to go back to the anonymous kind of way of doing studs and duds, where we don't tell each other, because it just creates opportunity for double downs and for surprise and fun times. So, Wes, take it away with your week 6 stud. I'm excited to hear about it.
I'm going to make the case why Darren Waller is my stud for this week. So,
yay! Please tell me why.
because it's now or never. And it's been working. When we are in a desperate spot to know if this player doesn't do their best this week, then we can essentially drop them. And it's happened with multiple players. It happened with Justin Fields, and it was fantastic. Now, here's the situation. They're playing the Bills, and Daniel Jones may not even be the starter.
Yay!
Normally, that would be right. Normally, without the starting quarterback against the Bills defense would be blood red flag. That would be just horrible news. That
a bloodbath, and not the good kind.
And not the good kind. That is actually the best reason to start Darren Waller, because when you have to play a Super Bowl contender like the Buffalo Bills, you have to go to your playmakers. And if they don't use Darren Waller, then they're not going to win. I don't think anybody expects the Giants to win, but Saquon is going to be coming off an injury if he plays. And even if Saquon plays, I still think you should start Darren Waller, because what I at least want you to do, for those that have Darren Waller, like myself and like Noah, start him and give yourself this condition. If he doesn't do well this week, if he's not a stud, you can move on from Darren Waller. I'm making it definitive. I'm drawing a line in the sand. This is the week you can make your decision. If he doesn't have his best game of the year, you can move on. That's why I'm calling him my stud. He's against a tough matchup. Best defense, arguably, in the NFL. One of them, at least. they have to use him. They have to. Darren Waller is my stud.
Let's go 3 for 3. I mean, I hope you're right here. I mean, 16.6 last week from Darren Waller was a very welcome sight for owners. I'm stubborn, and I do not know if I'll be able to let him go if he doesn't have his best game of the year, but that's why I'm just going to believe that he's going to have his best game of the year. So there you go. Get him in the end zone, please. And maybe if it's Tyrod Taylor, then it won't be thick skull, confused boy Daniel Jones, who's like, "Did you say throw it to Darren Waller? I thought you said run it." And it's like, no.
Was that a ghost, you guys? What was that?
Is that
Darren Waller?
Okay, guys, here we go. Okay, Darren Waller coming at you.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, I gotta go, guys. Okay, I gotta leave.
Another pick six. I don't understand.
Yeah. What did I do wrong? Listen, maybe it's
that's
Tyrod
what I'll
Taylor,
say.
maybe it's Darren Waller. Let's get it. We'll see what happens here. Or Tyrod Taylor or Daniel Jones. Sorry. I got to roll out Darren Waller in multiple leagues. I put so much faith in him this offseason, in draft season.
Yeah.
Got to just hope for the best here. And that's what I'll keep doing probably every single week. I mean, it's going to ruin me probably.
That's all right. That happens to us with at least one player every season. For us, it's been Darren Waller. I'll say if he doesn't score a touchdown, think about it. That's what I'll say. I'll make that the mark there. Because he may get 15 and a touchdown and it not be his best game of the season. Okay, that's my stud for the week. Noah, who's your stud for week 6?
Yeah, we're going to roll it out here. It's going to be Raheem Mostert. No Devon Achane. Raheem Mostert is set up for success. We've seen him have success even with Devon Achane in the game, but now he will be the lead guy. It is uncertain if Jeff Wilson Jr. will come back and play again. If we think about it and we remember back to week 1, I think he had about 12 to 15 points. In week 2, he had the 2 touchdowns against the Patriots. And then week 3 comes back, obviously has a 4-touchdown game, but we go back and we look at him as the lead back, as the feature back for this Dolphins offense, and he was fantastic. In games this year where he touches the football at least 12 times, he has 15 or more fantasy points. You're going to sit here and tell me that Raheem Mostert isn't going to get 12 touches or more in this game? No, it's going to happen. Add on to that the Carolina Panthers are allowing the most rushing touchdowns in the NFL to running backs. 8 touchdowns allowed so far through 5 weeks. They are giving up a lot of scores to the running back position, as well as the second most fantasy points to running backs. Those two go hand in hand there. Raheem Mostert's going to have a great game. The matchup's fantastic against Carolina, and he should be seeing between 15 and 20 touches, and I mean, inside the 10-yard line, it's either going to be a pass or it's going to be a run to Mostert. So it's going to be exciting, or pass to Mostert. There you go. So it's going to be exciting stuff. Raheem Mostert is a surefire stud this week. He's probably the most confident stud call I've had this year.
I would be unsurprised if he ends up with 30 points this week. I mean, honestly, I know he's done it already a couple times, but I mean, he was the RB1 going into week 4. I mean, just an insane. He's had a remarkable season already, and obviously even with Achane, he still was doing fine after that Broncos game. Achane has just this incredible big play potential that is unlike anything I've ever seen outside of like maybe Tyreek Hill, honestly. What if they play together? Oh my gosh, they do. So here's what's interesting. This transitions me actually into my dud for the week. Jeff Wilson. I think he's a dud this week. And I understand. So I like that stat, and I like the idea that the Carolina Panthers are one of the worst rush defenses in the NFL, and they offer the end zone to running backs frequently. But I do know that there was a period last year where you and I were trying to figure out who's the better running back for the Dolphins. Kind of middle of the season, we're like, is it Raheem Mostert or is it Jeff Wilson? And then we kind of landed on both. Yeah, feels like they're both getting theirs. It's pretty great. So here's what it looked like. Because we didn't know. Mike McDaniel's first year, we're trying to figure out what was going on. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Tua Tagovailoa, trying to see what that offense looked like. So week 2, Jeff Wilson, 10 points. Week 3, 8. And then it was 13 points and then 19 points. And it was like, all right, I think, and Raheem Mostert was doing just the same. It's like, man, this feels really good. And then after that, 0.5 points, 5 points, 3 points, 13 points, 20 points, 0.3 points, 2.5 points, 10 points, 7.5, 7.5. It was not as impressive as I remembered it being between the two of them. I feel like that Jeff Wilson contributed much more than he actually did. And this is standard points, by the way. If I switch over to PPR, it doesn't really change at all because he was not in the passing game. He only got 3 catches at most in a game last year. So as much as I like Jeff Wilson as a player, and as much as I know that he can be involved in this offense, I don't think you need to roll him out. I don't think anyone thinks they can win because they're playing Jeff Wilson now that Devon Achane is out. Let's be honest, already just in about 3.5 games with Devon Achane, he's a better football player than Jeff Wilson. So it doesn't just slide into that position. But I have that much confidence in Raheem Mostert as being your stud for the week and what he's already done this season. He's proven he is incredible. So I saw Jeff Wilson picked up a lot. He's coming off the IR. There's an opportunity for him to maybe punch in the end zone. Maybe he actually has a half-decent game, but I don't think he is the right play, even though they're playing the Panthers. So that's why Jeff Wilson is my dud this week.
Yeah, and I can understand that. I see where that's coming from. And I personally, I mean, if we learn anything from Jonathan Taylor last week, it's that if a player is coming off the PUP or the IR, don't roll them out right away, because you're probably not going to get a realistic picture of what their role will look like. I will say one thing, and I think it may have been something that slipped your mind, is that last year he started on the 49ers. He was not with the Dolphins from week 1. The Dolphins traded for him just before and at the deadline. So his first game with Miami was that game against Chicago. And so he did go up and down. He definitely did. But his first game with Miami, 16.2, and then 22.3, and then 12.2, and then he had 0.3 points, only 1 carry in that game where we got clobbered by the 49ers. And then 2.6 against Chargers, didn't play a lot in that game either. But then 11, 10.6, and 9.4. I think once he returns, he will have a role, especially while Achane is out. They brought him back on a contract. He was a free agent, and they brought him back onto the team. So they have a plan. But I will agree with you and say, even if he is playing, don't roll him out just for uncertainty reasons. He may not be involved. He is not the player that Achane is. He's going to have a different role. I think Salvon Ahmed is a better play if you're going to play a Dolphins running back this week. I think even Chris Brooks is a better play if you're going to play a Dolphins running back this week, if Jeff Wilson is active. So it'll be interesting to see how things pan out whenever he is fully back in a role or whatever it may be. But no, I agree. If Jeff Wilson is playing, I don't think you should roll him out there.
I'm so glad you mentioned the name Salvon Ahmed because, dude, what? I mean, he just might get like 17 points, just as an accidental, just big play touchdown, because he had a fantastic preseason. He was doing so well that, I mean, we were talking to each other just as Dolphins fans, like, so do we have a committee with him and Mostert? Like, he was looking really good.
I don't remember what preseason game it was, but I remember I texted you and your dad, and we're all in a group chat together, and I'm watching it, and I'm going, yeah, Salvon Ahmed just took Myles Gaskin's job. Gaskin does not have a job after this game. Like, Ahmed looks really
literally
good.
happened. He ended up in Minnesota.
Yeah, if you're in a really tight spot and you need you just need a dart throw play, Salvon Ahmed could be a legit option for you. It wouldn't surprise me if he has a stat line that's like 10 carries for 85 yards and a touchdown. Like that wouldn't surprise me at all if he just, because this run game is fantastic. He looks really good. So that's definitely a dart throw option if you do need somebody there for sure. I'm definitely pro Salvon Ahmed if you need it. Let me tell you who my dud is, and we'll both be thrilled to hear it. It's Deebo Samuel. He is a week 6 dud. And I know you're thinking, I have Deebo Samuel, I have to play him. No, you don't. No, you don't. Put him on your bench. I'm so serious. Bench Deebo Samuel this week. Listen, he has, over the last 2 weeks, he has 3 total targets over a 2-week span. Take the name value out of it. Replace Deebo Samuel with the name Deebo Samuel with Braxton Berrios. If you were maybe playing for some upside there, if Braxton Berrios had 3 targets over the last 2 weeks, you'd be like, oh, cool, drop. We've seen Braxton Berrios score touchdowns. We've seen him be semi-fantasy relevant. There's that. Deebo Samuel, 3 targets over the last 2 weeks, and not to mention Cleveland has allowed the fewest catches, yards, and fantasy points to wide receivers this year. They are a fantastic pass defense. Add on to all of that, Ayuk is the guy. We know that. We've been saying that this whole offseason, and it's coming true. We're seeing it right in front of our eyes. Brock Purdy playing lights out. Who's he throwing the ball to? Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk, and George Kittle. That's who he's going to. Deebo Samuel belongs on benches this week. And if this continues much longer, like maybe you should try and sell Deebo right now. We had a guy in our Trollers League go, what's the value of Deebo at this point? And we were like, barely anything. He's not playing well. Like this is just how it's going. So Deebo Samuel's a dud, dude, and he belongs on benches. Don't feel like you have to play him just because he had a good game against the Rams when Brandon Ayuk was out. Oh, wow, okay, cool. He is not playing well. He's not involved. 6% target share over the last 2 weeks. 6%. It's insane. It's ridiculous. So Deebo Samuel, straight up dud. Get him out of your lineup. Drop him. Never draft him again. Retire.
just hang up the cleats, bro.
Yeah.
You're washed.
Yeah.
And there's nothing that I need to comment on because
yeah,
we've been beating this drum the whole off season, and it is panning out the way that we predicted and the way that we were learning about in camp, and it makes complete sense why Deebo Samuel had 2 really good games this year. Both were without Brandon Ayuk. And Ayuk came back, and it is just as you shared in those statistics. I don't have Deebo anywhere except in a dynasty by accident. I didn't mean to get Deebo in that dynasty, and I sent offers like all offseason and was like, no.
Somebody
so I'm kind of stuck with that. Yeah, please. I'll sell him for 1 fab. I'm actually be able to get that. I hope, but
maybe.
This is the this is the redraft situation. This is what it's looking like for this 2023 season. Deebo is not the guy, and this is something that we even talked about in the offseason of why he's not that good in the receiving game either. He is a remarkable athlete. He's a remarkable football player, but here in the fantasy football world, his 2019 season, which is why you know who he is, was because he had 8 freaking rushing touchdowns.
Yeah.
You don't get that when Christian McCaffrey is the running back, and you take away the rushing upside. He wasn't even top 20 in wide receiver stats. He wasn't even top 20 as a wide receiver if he had no rushing yards and no rushing touchdowns in 2019. He wouldn't have been a top 20 wide receiver.
Yeah.
Here it is. Nothing else. I'm affirming everything you're saying, and I think people need. I mean, no. The only thing is that the name value is why he should be on the bench instead of just dropped, obviously. But it's a bad situation that got Deebo, and we hope that you listened to us on 4th and Troll.
Yeah, we were on record both saying Deebo was going at like the 4 or 5 turn, like late 4th, early 5th, mid 5th round, whatever it was, and we both said, yeah, I'd rather draft Ayuk in the 5th round than Deebo in the 5th round. Like that was preseason. Made the call, and we saw it from a mile away, and we hope you guys listened because it was definitely something that we saw coming. And so Deebo Samuel, week 6 dud and beyond. It's just disappointing if you were an owner, and you're definitely not getting what you hope for. So listen, that is going to do it for today's episode. Let us know in the comments below, what players are you trading, what players are you stashing, who are your studs and duds for the week. Let us know if you got any of ours and what you're going to end up doing with them. While you're down there, subscribe, ring that bell, like the video, follow us on all our social medias, make Taylor Troll smile, and we will catch you on Tuesday for a Week 6 recap. Looking forward to Thursday Night Football. Hopefully it's a better one then. We love you guys. We will talk to you on Tuesday. I am Noah Selby.
And I'm Selby.
And this has been Fourth and Troll Fantasy.
Fourth and Troll Fantasy is a production of FQ Media and Selby Artistic Workshop.